I watched 12 pairs of eyes turn on me, cold, rehearsed, and waiting to strike. We were supposed to be at a cozy 3-day mountain retreat in Asheville, North Carolina. Team building, strategy planning. Instead, this was my execution. The rustling of papers stopped. The sound of typing vanished. Every chair in the lodge conference room turned to face me, leaving me dead center, like prey surrounded by wolves. Outside, snow was falling in thick silence, but inside, it burned like a furnace of betrayal. Niles, my manager, stood up, brushing non-existent lint from his button-down like he was about to deliver a eulogy. "We've been talking, Oralia," he began, his voice dripping with fake concern. "And as a department, we've reached a decision." I counted 12 faces, colleagues I'd worked beside for 3 years. People I'd stayed late with, celebrated birthdays with, helped through divorces and layoffs. "You're the problem here," Niles said flatly. Octavia, with her tortoiseshell glasses glinting in the overhead light, nodded hard. "Every project I've managed with you has fallen behind schedule." "You challenge everything," Kip added, bags under his eyes like bruises. "It's exhausting." One by one, they unloaded their case against me like they'd practiced it. Everly said I was toxic to team morale. Jasper said I obsessed over details that didn't matter. Dahlia blamed me for losing a major account last quarter. Each word sliced deeper. But none of it surprised me. This was no intervention. This was a hit job. Their complaints were too synchronized. Their body language too prepared. They'd planned this down to the seating arrangement. I was meant to crack, but I didn't. While they spoke, I quietly typed beneath the table, an email I'd been drafting for weeks. I knew this moment was coming, and I came prepared. When Niles finally said, "We want you to succeed, but something has to change," I simply looked each of them in the eye and pressed send. "Thank you for your feedback," I said, voice even, as confusion flickered across their faces. This wasn't the breakdown they expected. Niles, caught off guard, checked his watch. "CEO's keynote starts in 5 minutes. We should head to the main hall." And so we did. 2 presentations later, Roland, our CEO, took the stage with his tablet in hand. 10 minutes into his quarterly projections, he paused, checked a message. I saw the moment he read my email. His expression shifted. Slowly, his eyes found mine. He set the tablet down. "Actually," he said, "we need to address something far more urgent, something about integrity and accountability." Niles stiffened. The others sat frozen. "Effective immediately," Roland continued. "I'm announcing a full audit of all departmental activities from the past year, and we're implementing a new ethics compliance system. Clearly, the current approach is broken." He never looked at our department. He didn't have to. "Question for you, have you ever been ambushed at work or blamed for something you didn't do? Tell me in the comments." I read every one. "And don't forget, hit that like and subscribe if you want to hear what happened next." After the CEO's announcement, the rest of the retreat was a ghost of what it was meant to be. Trust falls, icebreakers, brainstorming sessions, pointless. No one spoke to me unless absolutely necessary. Niles avoided eye contact like it might burn him. The others, Octavia, Kip, Dahlia, they floated through the rest of the weekend with fake smiles and whispered conversations behind closed doors. Dahlia cornered me by the coffee station. Her voice was too low, too careful. "What exactly did you send Roland?" I stirred my tea calm. "Just a few observations." Her face twitched. The retreat ended a day early. By the time our shuttle returned to the Charlotte office, news had already spread. Phones buzzed nonstop. Slack channels exploded with rumors. On Monday morning, the elevator doors opened, and in walked a squad of external auditors. Suits, briefcases, tablets, faces like stone. The office froze. People started moving fast, papers disappeared, whispered meetings bloomed like fungus. The air was charged with panic. I stayed seated. Niles, red-faced and sweaty, called an emergency department meeting. "This is standard," he said, his voice cracking just a little. "They're just reviewing documentation. Answer honestly, stay professional." But he wouldn't look at me. Everly raised her hand. "What exactly are they looking for?" "General compliance," Niles muttered. "Never seen general compliance come with that many tablets and subpoenas," Jasper muttered. Octavia sat stiffly. Her eyes locked on me like she was trying to read my mind. The meeting ended, people scattered. Niles pulled me aside, his grip was tight. "Whatever you think you know," Yes, I asked, meeting his eyes. His mouth opened, closed. Then he let go. We're all on the same team here, I smiled. Are we? That week was chaos. The auditors didn't just pull files, they pulled receipts, emails, expense reports, meeting logs. People came out of interview rooms pale and shaking. Kip cornered me in the break room on Wednesday. What did you tell them? He hissed, his eyes wide. The truth, I said, just like Niles advised. His hands balled into fists. You have no idea what you've done. No, I replied, brushing past him. I know exactly what I've done. I just don't think you do. By Thursday, I got the message I'd been waiting for. Roland's assistant, 5 p.m., his office. 12 pairs of eyes followed me as I walked to the elevator. Roland's office sat on the top floor, glass, steel, and silence. He didn't even look up when I walked in. Sit, he said, still typing. I sat. He clicked once more, then turned toward me. The auditors are finding major discrepancies. Client billing, project reports, resource allocations. I didn't blink. I'm not surprised. He studied me, fingers steepled. Why didn't you come directly to me? I tried. I went to Niles, HR, every time I was told to stay in my lane. You documented this. Every conversation, every denial, every retaliation. He leaned back, a slow nod forming. Some would call that calculating. I call it survival. There was silence. Then he said it. I'm placing Niles on administrative leave, effective immediately. My heart kicked in my chest, but I kept my face still. And the rest of the department? We'll see where the evidence leads. He waved me off. By the next morning, Niles' office was stripped bare, not a photo, not a coffee mug, like he'd never existed. And then, the dominoes started to fall. By Friday afternoon, the walls started to close in. Whispers, closed-door meetings, HR escorts, nervous glances. The office was no longer a workplace, it was a war zone. That morning, Dahlia approached me with her voice barely above a whisper. They're saying 3 more people will be suspended. I kept typing. She hesitated. Jasper overheard the auditors. They mentioned Kip, Octavia. And me. Now I looked up. Her face, normally porcelain smooth, always camera-ready, was cracking. Her lipstick smudged at the corner. Her hands trembled around her coffee cup. What did you know, Dahlia? Her mouth opened, then closed. Nothing concrete, she said quickly. But Niles, he told us it was all just approved methodology, that you were. A liability, I finished. She nodded once, cheeks flushed. Please, Aurelia, I have 2 kids. A mortgage, I wasn't trying to hurt you, I was just scared. I leaned in slightly. You should have thought about that before you joined the mob. By 3 p.m., it happened. Security escorted Kip, Octavia, and Dahlia out of the building. No fanfare. Just stiff backs, tight jaws, and access badges handed over without a word. And still, that wasn't the end. That evening, I headed to my car in the parking garage. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead. My keys were already in my hand when I saw them. Everly and Jasper. Waiting, I stopped short. We need to talk, Everly said. Her voice wasn't sharp anymore, it was fragile. I unlocked my car. I have nothing to say to either of you. We messed up, Jasper said, stepping forward. We were just trying to survive. Niles, he had everything locked down. If we pushed back, we were done. Like I said, opening the driver's door. Everly flinched. It was different. No, it wasn't. You made it different. We didn't know how deep it went, Jasper insisted. Not until the auditors started pulling files. I paused, looking at them both under the flickering garage lights. What do you want? They exchanged a glance. Everly finally spoke. Just put in a good word with Roland, please. Tell him we didn't understand what was happening, that we were just following orders. A humorless laugh escaped me. You want me to save you, after you tried to destroy me? We were wrong, Jasper said quietly. We know that now. I got into my car, rolled the window down just enough to say, You'll get exactly what you deserve. Nothing more, nothing less. Then I drove off, letting the rain streak down my windshield like it was washing the last of them off my skin. But the real storm, it was just getting started. 3 weeks into the audit, Roland called me in again. This time, he didn't hesitate. The preliminary findings are worse than expected, he said. 2 years of fraud. Phantom projects, falsified reports, diverted funds. I nodded, waiting. He leaned forward. The question is, do we handle this internally or call the authorities? I met his gaze. What happens to the department if we go nuclear? It would be a complete rebuild, new hires, a long, expensive reset. And if I take it over, I asked. He didn't miss a beat. Then you'll have full authority to restructure, rebuild. Clean house. There was silence. Then, with absolute clarity, I said, then I know exactly what needs to happen next. Monday morning. I arrived at the office an hour early. It wasn't to get ahead on emails. It was because today, I wasn't just Oralia from compliance. I was the new head of the department. The office Niles once ruled from with his mahogany desk and smug smile. Now mine. I stood in the doorway for a long minute, letting it all sink in. The same walls where I'd once been cornered, gaslit, frozen out, now echoed with my authority. At exactly 9 o'clock am, I called a department meeting. 8 remaining team members filed into the conference room, all trying to read me. Their expressions flickered between hope and dread. Everly and Jasper sat together. The others kept space between them, no one wanting to look like allies now. I remained standing. Good morning, I said. As you know, I've been appointed as your new department head. Nods, murmurs, eyes shifting. I continued. 4 colleagues are gone, their actions were unacceptable, but accountability doesn't end with them. Silence. The room tightened, everyone holding their breath. Each of you had opportunities to speak up, to question, to act, most of you didn't. And that choice has consequences. Jasper blurted, we didn't have the full picture. I looked at him. Are you saying you never suspected fraud? He hesitated. Not exactly. Because the audit says otherwise, I replied coldly. Their bodies shrank into the chairs. I spent the weekend reviewing personnel files, audit data, and compliance reports. I've made decisions, final ones. I pulled out a stack of sealed envelopes, slid one to each person. Inside. Their new roles, their new pay, their new rank. Every one of them had been reassigned, demoted, or moved under stricter supervision. And every role came with mandatory ethics training and performance reviews. Everly opened hers. Her face drained. Associate level, that's 3 steps down. It reflects your contributions, I said, and your involvement. This is punishment. No, I corrected. Termination would have been punishment, this is restraint. Jasper slammed his hand on the table. You can't do this, we have rights. All reviewed by legal, the alternative was criminal charges. Would you prefer that? Dead silence. They weren't looking at a colleague anymore. They were looking at the person with the power to end them. You have until end of day to accept your reassignment, I said, gathering my folder. If not, HR will proceed with terminations. I left them there, stunned. Later that day, Mason, the newest hire, the one who had said almost nothing during the retreat, approached me quietly. You didn't reassign me, I looked up. Because you tried. Remember the quarterly review. You questioned the Westward Project numbers. Niles shut you down, but you spoke. He looked stunned. I didn't think anyone noticed. I noticed everything, I said. That's why I'm here. And Niles isn't. By 5 p.m., 7 acceptance letters sat on my desk. Only one chose termination. Everly. She thought she could walk away with pride intact. She had no idea how small her name had become. Roland stopped by that evening. How'd it go? About as expected, I said. And how are you? I looked around the office, my office. I'm not sure yet. He gave me a long look. Power reveals character, Oralia. You had the chance to destroy them. You didn't. Would you prefer I had? I want to understand your strategy. I closed my laptop. Destroying them would have been easy, but I want something sustainable. Loyalty, stability. A clean rebuild without burning the entire foundation. He nodded slowly. So this is strategic mercy. It's power on my terms. 2 months passed. The department began to recover. Slowly, we brought in new hires. Clients returned. Numbers improved. But underneath the progress, resentment simmered. Jasper, the others, they played nice. But I could see the way they moved. Delays, missed memos, half-hearted efforts. They thought I'd forgiven them. They were wrong. 6 months after the retreat ambush, I walked into the company's annual leadership summit in Nashville, Tennessee. This time, I wasn't attending as a background compliance officer. I was one of them, department head, keynote speaker, and the woman who survived a corporate hit job and came back stronger. The summit opened with Roland sharing his vision for the next fiscal year. Executives clapped. Marketing dazzled with shiny growth charts. Sales bragged about international clients. Then it was my turn. I walked to the podium. In the back row, I saw them, Jasper, Mason, and two others from the original circle that had once tried to bury me. I'd insisted they attend. They thought it was an olive branch. It was a spotlight. I adjusted the mic. 6 months ago, I began, our department was in crisis. Integrity was compromised. Processes were twisted. Trust was broken. There was a ripple of murmurs. But I'm not here to talk about failure. I'm here to talk about transformation. I rolled into our new compliance protocols, transparent billing systems, restored client trust. I showed slides, before and after metrics, glowing client testimonials, clean audit results. Executives nodded. Some even took notes. But then I clicked to the final slide. It was a list of names. I want to recognize a few individuals, I said. People who could have walked away when things got hard, but they stayed. They took responsibility, and they rebuilt. Mason's name was there, so was Jasper's, even two others who'd once turned their backs on me. I met their eyes as I read their names out loud. These people showed that one mistake, even a serious one, doesn't have to end a career. Redemption is possible when it's earned. The applause started slow, then grew. Then Roland joined me on stage. I'm proud to announce that each of these individuals will receive a leadership bonus and professional development grant, he said, shaking their hands one by one as they were called forward. In that moment, under the lights, the cameras, the clapping, they realized what I had done. I could have buried them. Instead, I rebuilt them under my rules. I didn't forgive them. I reprogrammed them. They weren't loyal to the company. They were loyal to me. At the summit reception, Roland pulled me aside. Glass of champagne in hand, smile full of quiet awe. Masterful, he said. You didn't just save a department, you created a dynasty. I sipped my sparkling water. They'll never betray me again. Of course not, they won't dare. He leaned in closer. You gave them exactly what they never expected, Grace, and in doing so, you made yourself unforgettable. I turned to look at my team, now truly my team. No more plotting, no more side glances, just eyes filled with stunned loyalty, and I realized something. I had destroyed the old them, not with firings or public shame or revenge speeches, but with controlled mercy. Calculated redemption. They'd expected destruction. What I gave them instead was rebirth. On my terms, under my name, in my shadow, and that was the sweetest revenge of all. If you made it this far, thank you. I'd love to know, have you ever had to rebuild after betrayal? Drop a comment, hit like, subscribe for more stories like this one. Your support means more than you know.